What I'm about to show you is the custom plumbing job that I did on a tank that I received secondhand. And so a lot of what I went with was just kind of working with what I had and the way the tank was already set up. Before we do that, I think it is important to cover just some general DIY custom plumbing tips. And if you have not purchased a tank yet, it could come in handy as you're kind of looking at the various tanks that are available and the work that may come along with what you decide to purchase. This particular tank behind me came fully set up, and so all of the plumbing was already done, cut. All I had to do was simply put a few pieces into place, and it was done. That comes with a pretty high price tag usually, and so again, if you are doing some custom plumbing work with either a secondhand tank or you buy just a regular tank and you drill it, whatever the case may be, these are just some things that you want to think about and kind of maybe an approach and a way to get started. So first, you need to understand the actual design in itself for the tank that you have. Is it a Herbie overflow? Is it a Durso? Is it a bean animal? You need to know what each of those are. Hopefully, you have at least 2 drains. If the tank does not have at least 2 drains, one being an emergency, do not go with that setup. You want to have at least 2 drains. I actually have 3 in the one that you're about to see on the tank that's back there in my office. So understand the way the tank is already set up. The next thing you want to do is plan and draw it out. This can be super simple. It doesn't need to be overly complex. Just a piece of paper, draw just a box for your tank, a box for your sump, and just some basic lines for where you want that plumbing to go. Having an idea and an overall kind of goal is going to be critical as you get started. You don't want to just start gluing and cutting and making it up as you go. So have a general plan. As you're going through and planning, you want to try to utilize as many unions as you can. That way, when something, because it's inevitable, some type of event happens, you can disconnect your plumbing at certain spots where the unions are instead of having to take apart all of your plumbing. So utilize unions wherever you can. Also for the drain, whether you have 1, 2, or 3 drains, your primary drain, I highly, highly recommend, you'll hear me say it like 3 times in this video you're about to watch, utilizing a gate valve. It just really, really helps making the tank quiet. So gate valves are a little expensive, but again, I highly recommend getting a gate valve for your primary drain. Once you've decided on your overall design for the way you want to plumb your system, the next thing I think you should think about is aesthetics. Do you care what the pipe actually looks like, what the connections look like? Is it going to be an open cabinet, closed cabinet? If it's open, again, you may want to kind of think about the colors that you choose for the PVC. You may want to special order some parts. A lot of people could care less. It's just white PVC from Home Depot, whatever the case may be. Just make sure that you consider that. Do you care about the way the plumbing actually looks? Is it part of the actual display in itself? Then you probably do want to order some stuff from BRS, getting the really cool colors and making everything match, but consider that as well. Once you have your design, you've ordered all of your parts, a couple of extra unions. Also, make sure you order a bunch of these extra. These are couplers. And so if you do make a mistake after you've already glued, you can cut the PVC, put on one of these couplers, and then keep going. And so these are really cheap and just nice to have on hand. If you're not a pro at this, most of us aren't, you're going to make mistakes and want to have a lot of these couplers. For the cutting I just recommended, you want to get a pair of PVC cutters. These aren't overly expensive, but these are going to be way better than a hacksaw. After you make your cut, you also going to want to get one of these tools right here. They're very cheap, and you just kind of work around the end of the pipe by hand, and what it does is it creates a bevel edge around that pipe, and so that part that you cut doesn't have a real rough edge and helps the glue kind of bond the pipes together as well. So now that you have all of your parts, you have your design, you have everything cut, you want to go ahead and essentially try to put the entire system together in what's called a dry fit. And so it's just as it sounds, you're not gluing anything, you're just putting all of the pieces together, making sure everything fits. Keep in mind as well, when you do dry fit this, it's not going to be exactly the same measurements as when you use the glue. And I say that because 99% of the time when you're pushing the pipe into the connection points, dry fitting it, it doesn't actually go in as far as it does when you utilize the glue that helps it slide a little bit easier. And so just again, kind of when you're making your cuts, keep that in mind that you may want to give yourself a couple of extra centimeters to account for the distance that it's going to go when you actually are utilizing that glue. It's possible when dry fitting, you could get every single pipe crammed in there as far as it'll go. Most of the time, that's not going to happen with the amount of pipes that you have to push in. And so I always try to give myself at least a couple of extra centimeters to account for when I'm actually utilizing the glue, that it may not be the exact same measurements as when I was dry fitting. So if you have everything cut, you've dry fit it, everything looks great, you're ready to go ahead and start gluing. When it comes to the glue, you want to make sure that you have two different types of glue. One is your regular PVC cement. It's gonna look like this. I've seen it in different colors, but it'll say PVC cement. It's PVC to PVC. You also want to purchase some of this multi-purpose PVC glue. You want to make sure that it says ABS on it, and this is what you're going to use to glue from PVC to your bulkhead. It's a little bit different than PVC to PVC, so make sure you have some of this multi-purpose ABS glue to glue into the actual bulkheads. And then lastly, you'll want to also pick up some of the primer. Most of the time this will come in a combo pack along with some of the cement. So you prime and then use your glue. From there, you're ready to get started. And so again, like I said, just a couple of things to think about, but now we'll dive into the way that I did the custom plumbing on my tank over in the office that I just picked up secondhand. I'm going to get started plumbing the 150 Predator tank. Have the sump in, some of the equipment in there. The white is a pretty stark difference against the black there, but it was a pretty good price on that sump. Plus I got store credit for trading in some corals. So simple design is exactly what I was looking for the sump. This tank did come with the Bean Animal style overflow where there's 3 drains. And so what I'll do is have one full siphon, and that full siphon is going to have a gate valve on it. It's critical that you get a gate valve, in my opinion. It's expensive. I think my gate valve was $70 for a valve, but worth every penny when it comes to silencing your tank and your plumbing. And so then the next one will be a secondary drain, and then the last one is the emergency drain. So those will obviously come straight down. I did get some gray elbows and black pipe that I think will look good together. I'll have the 2 primary drains coming in there, and then the emergency drain will just be up high, so I'll hear it splashing if there's ever an emergency. And then on the return, I am going to run one pipe off that pump, tee it off, and then go up into the dual returns up there. That sump did come with this flexible hose for drains, and so I'm planning on using the PVC. I like that look a lot better. But once I get started, if I, for whatever reason, find out it's way easier to go with this, I probably will, but I did pay for the black pipe, and I like that look, so I'm gonna try my best to hard plumb it all the way around. I suppose I do need to check my other plumbing fittings and figure out how to get the pipe from this return to hard pipe. It has a barb fitting on it. And so what I think I'll do is hopefully I have another barb fitting in my plumbing stuff outside, and so it'll be barb with a piece of hose in the middle, and then on that other side of that barb fitting will be back to PVC. So that's the plan. I went out to my plumbing supply box, pulled a few things out, so I have a few options on how to hard plumb off of this barb fitting or this pump to keep it hard plumbing. The first thing I can do is I found just this random piece that I cut off an old system at some point. And as you can see, it does have a bit of hose with the barb fitting. It's screwed on here with Teflon tape and goes up to a 1-inch pipe. So I could put that there. It's not the cleanest look, but it does work. And then hard plumb from here. Another option would be to I was thinking screw this directly onto here, but it does not fit. So that will not work. I'm going to go with this short run of tubing here. I literally didn't even cut this. I just had this out in my bucket like this. And so then from here, I'll put my 1-inch union right here. So that way I can be sure that this will disconnect as needed to get the pump in and out. Anytime you make a cut on your PVC and you have this raw edge, you want to get one of these tools that are really cheap, but it just grinds it down and puts like a beveled edge around it. You don't have to do that, but that is going to give it a better seal when you glue it on. So I always like to do it. It makes a little bit of a mess, but that's the right way to do it. Just kind of eliminates that raw, sharp edge and makes it bond better. So that will work. I can now hard plumb however I want, and I don't have to worry about everything being stuck. I can take it off right here and remove this whole section as needed, because I will need to remove the pump to clean it and maintenance it, or even put a new pump in without removing the rest of my plumbing. So I wish this was gray. I could have ordered a gray one online, but I have this, so this is what it's gonna look like. This will be lower in the sump, and the sump's white. So I think it'll be all right. The rest will all match. It'll be this black PVC. I have my 3 drains started. Those purples were already attached to those bulkheads. There wasn't one in the middle. Actually, I think I replaced the bulkhead completely in the middle. So I have those 3 started there. I need this return, obviously, to get over there to where the pump is. And there's another return bulkhead over there. So they're both gonna go straight down inside the cabinet, 90 degree, and then come together in T right at the return. All right, ran into my first issue here. On the returns, my plan was to drop them down, bring them over, tee them in, and right down to the pump. The problem is this one comes down perfectly over and over. I couldn't bring this one down straight and over because this is in the way. It sticks out a little bit further than the other side. This is where I have a panel and the electric will go on the other side of this. And so I had to angle this one instead of coming straight this way. But I think that the angle that I happen to do just is coincidentally pretty close to 45 degrees. And so I do think I can bring this and 45 it over to that other one and then still tee it down. So I have this one coming down and it's running right along this 2x4. The hope is when I cut that PVC and put the 45 on, it lines up perfectly along this 45 as well. Then we'll be in great shape. Again, wish this was gray so it all matches, but when you're doing custom plumbing like this, hardly it goes perfectly to plan, and I got lucky that that worked out there. So as I'm plumbing this in, and I'm kind of annoyed that I have to use the white PVC and I got all gray connectors and I had to use the white, the white 45 over there. I'm looking at it from back here and realize, actually, the white does look good because the stand is all black, the sump's white. So then black piping and white connectors would look good. So I ran to Ace and grabbed a bunch of white connections, and I do think that'll end up in the visible area looking really good. I did already use gray connectors on the back, but obviously you don't see that. In the visible area down here in the sump, it'll be all the white and black matching.
Once you plug your pump in and get the system running, from there, it's a simple balancing act. And what you're doing is balancing the rate of flow in the drain with the rate of flow on your return. And so hopefully you have a pump that you can adjust the flow on. And then as you're doing that, you simply make very small adjustments to your gate valve. That's going to be very easy to do because of this wheel. And just the slightest turn will make a big difference. And so just make a small turn, wait about 5 minutes, and listen. And eventually this water will level out and it'll become quiet. From there, you really do want to make sure you have an auto top off and then use something like this, one of these water level stickers, to know exactly where you want this water in your return zone, just so everything stays balanced and then it does stay quiet consistently. But like I keep saying, this gate valve is critical to make this very easy to do.